Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey with the JX Fight Club in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. So today we have a number of questions. It looks like a lot of them are about my facial hair. Beard, another beard one. Man, guys, I go 2 weeks without shaving and all you can talk about is the beard. Let's see what else we have. Okay. A real question. I have a question from A Dog Yo, who says, have you ever encountered trash talk and intimidation during a face-off? And if so, how do you get past it? Should you trash talk back or hold your composure? Has it ever affected you before the fight? I think it would be cool if you made a video about this. Have a good day. All right, you have a good day too. A Dog Yo. Trash talk. You know what? I'm gonna sound like an old man for a minute here, but back in my day, we didn't do that. We just shook hands and we fought. That was it. Thing is, when I was competing, the referees actually enforced the rule, which is one of the unified rules: no unsportsmanlike conduct, no foul language. People always talk about the rules of MMA, holding them back. Those are the rules. No unsportsmanlike conduct and no foul language. And so it's kind of shocking to me that those two rules specifically are so often ignored by the officials in the UFC today. So I never really faced that personally. People talking trash at a weigh-in or at a fight event or before, during, or after a fight. It just didn't happen. Intimidation, on the other hand, because trash talking isn't necessarily intimidating. There's an old saying from Shaka Zulu: a man putting on his armor for war should not speak as a man returning from the battlefield taking his armor off. It is a wise axiom I believe every fighter should follow. Probably the most intimidating experience I had as a fighter was my first professional Muay Thai fight. I was fighting a guy who was much more experienced, a guy named Jeff Moody, nicknamed No Mercy. Guy was an absolute killer. And there was no trash talk at all. What he did, he walked up to me, he shook my hand, looked me right in the eye and said, "Good luck in the fight." And those were the only words exchanged. And that sent chills through my spine. Because of that moment when I met my opponent in person and saw that he did not need to mad dog me, he did not need to scowl, he did not need to say angry words and pretend to be an old WWF wrestler before a fight trying to be a heel. He simply had to be himself and show up ready to fight, and that was enough. So how do you deal with a trash talker? You fight. You beat him with your fists in the cage. That's how you deal with him. You be the better fighter. Next question. Let's see here. What do we have? Beard. Oh, okay, here's one. From Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith says, hey, do you believe MMA fighters should sign something letting the ref know ahead of time that if you are in TJ Dillashaw's position, whether or not you want to let the fight go on till fully KO'd or to be saved? Okay, Kevin Smith, I understand where you're coming from. And, man, TJ Dillashaw definitely wanted to let that fight continue. He was clearly still conscious and moving. However, I understand the referee's decision to stop the fight because the referee has an obligation to stop the fight when one of the fighters can no longer intelligently defend themselves. That is called a technical knockout. You're technically not knocked unconscious, but you are no longer intelligently defending yourself. So let's actually take a look at that fight and hope we don't get banned for copyright infringement. So the fighters came out. It's a very short fight. I'm taking a look at this right now. I might put clips of this up on the screen. We'll see. Henry Cejudo throws a kick. There seems to be a push. TJ loses his footing. He's on the mat. He's eating some punches. He's trying to sit out. He's trying to turn in, trying to wrestle, trying to get up, and he just keeps eating punches. He gets knocked down again. He eats more punches. The referee jumps in and stops the fight. Now, a significant amount of damage, as far as I can tell, was not done. However, I'm going to tell you from a perspective as a professional referee of combat sports. Surprise, if you didn't know, I'm not just a coach and a retired fighter. I am a professional combat sports referee. I have refereed mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing events, K1 events, and jiu-jitsu events as well. So I've got a lot of experience as a referee. And I have stopped fights for less than that. And the thing is, when your job is the referee, nobody is happy with you except the guy who wins. It is your job to err on the side of caution. Man, I remember there was this women's fight I was reffing. There was this Russian girl, and she was fighting a Chinese girl, and the Chinese girl got on top in full mount and landed 6 undefended strikes from the mount position directly to the chin of her opponent. I stopped the fight, called it a TKO. And the Russian girl stood up and she protested. She was upset with my decision because she was not yet significantly damaged. She was not significantly damaged specifically because I intervened before she could be. A few months ago, I refereed a fight for one of my former students, this guy named Tole Han from Kazakhstan, and he's a really good fighter. And I had been coaching this guy for years, since he was a teenager. And it was his first professional MMA fight. Now, he'd done some exhibitions, he'd done some kickboxing matches, very good wrestler, very good submission grappling, but it was his first pro MMA fight. And it's a bit of a conflict of interests having the coach of one of these fighters referee the match. Now, he at one point had left my gym and went on to train at a different gym. And so the promoter felt it was okay that I ref the match. Anyway, Tole Han for short, he ends up in a compromised position. He's on the ground, he's on his back. He's eating a few punches. Takes about 5 direct hits. Pretty quick, pretty hard. He's not hurt badly, but I can see it's going south and it's going that way quick. And if I do not intervene, he's going to be hurt badly. So I did. I stopped the contest, and Han wasn't happy about it. He wanted to keep fighting. All fighters do. It's what we do. What do true fighters do? We take every fight put in front of us, regardless of the circumstances, even if it's crazy odds, even if you're fighting a world champion and you suck. I've done that. Even if you have to cut 30 pounds of water weight the day before or something like that. Fighters fight. It's what we do. And so if given the choice, the fighters will fight to the death. And as a referee, I don't want to see that. My very last fight, when I fought Wong Guan and he punched a hole in my head, The referee, Jaron Vallel, he's a good referee. He's refed for the UFC and a bunch of other big fight shows. Now, he jumped in and stopped it pretty quick after the second punch landed. After I was knocked down, but I wish he would have stepped in just a few seconds earlier before that big one landed that broke my skull open. That would have been life-changing. But yeah, so referees really should err on the side of caution. So I know TJ Dillashaw was not happy about that. His opponent was, Henry Cejudo was. A lot of the fans were not happy about that. You know, as a fan, I love watching TJ Dillashaw fight. He's a very exciting fighter, and I would have loved to see that fight go the distance. I imagine he probably could have wrestled out of that position. But the rules of the sport are this: if you are no longer intelligently defending yourself, the referee stops the fight. I had a fight, when was it, like 12 years ago, against this guy named Mike Bullock. And it's recorded on SureDog as a loss via armbar. There was no armbar in that match. It was a weird situation. We were in this strange human pretzel on the ground. And I had taken some damage. Not significant damage. I was still fighting. He had a little cut over the eye. You know, it was a bit of a scrap. But we were in this weird human pretzel. And my cornerman called out to me to grab his leg and pull myself up on top. And I remember reaching up and grabbing his leg, and the referee stopped the fight, thinking that my open hand touching his leg was a tap out. And of course I was upset by this, because fighters want to fight to the death. And I didn't want to quit. But I support the referee's decision. And I'll tell you why. Because what if it was a tap out? What if my arm was breaking? What if I was being killed and the referee did not stop that fight? It is extremely important that the referee err on the side of caution and enforce that rule. So, short answer, no. Fighters should not be allowed to dictate what the referee does. They try to, and their cornermen try to. And they shout out all kinds of crazy things from the sidelines, and they shouldn't. It's not illegal to talk to the referee, but the referee does have the discretion to disqualify you if you are in infraction of the rules, or however you say that. So, defend yourself at all times. I mean, that's rule number one. That's one of the first things the referee tells you. Listen to my commands at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Defend yourself intelligently at all times, or I will stop the contest. So that's a referee's perspective. If you have any other questions, leave them down in the comments below, or send me an email at ramseydewey@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.